Good evening and welcome out everyone to tonight's tackle trading onboarding webinar. Coach Frank here. I'll be taking you through the website this evening, showing you around a little bit, letting you know kind of what we're doing, when we're doing it, where you can find that. Hopefully, so you can get to know us a little bit better and make better use of the things that we're doing over here at Tackle Trading. So we will dive right on into it. Before we do, right now I'm in the Trade Center, and I just wanted to highlight tradingjustice.com. Each week you will find the Trading Justice podcast. It's directly over on tradingjustice.com, which we click this guy right here, it would take us there. You can listen to the podcast there. You can also listen to it on any of your favorite podcast providers. A really nice financial podcast, a lot of fun, very informative, certainly in my opinion at least, worth incorporating into your weekly routine. So that's the Trading Justice podcast. There is also a fantastic newsletter they do over at Trading Justice. This past week, this past month, I guess, they did one on Bitcoin proxies and different ways that we can take advantage of that space through the equities market. It was a really fascinating read. I can't encourage you enough to check it and the other Trading Justice newsletter out. I think you will really, really learn a lot from them. So that is tradingjustice.com. Our friends over there, definitely worth checking out. Let's dive right into tackle trading. And I like to break it down into three areas. I break it down into the stuff that you can do on your own. That's going to be courses, blogs, some of the different tools, the things that you can do with others. That's going to be the schedule. What are we doing? When are we doing it? And lastly, our weekend report, our tackle newsletter, our stock and option and commodity report. So that's going to kind of be the way that we come at it here this evening is breaking it into those three little baskets there. So let's start right away with the first one, and that's things that you can do on your own. And for me, at least, I mean, the thing that really jumps out is courses, right? Does kind of stands out as far as things that you can do on your own. And we do have several courses available to all of our pro members here at Tackle Trading. The 7-step guide to trading is, in some ways, it's kind of an introduction to the tackle trading way. There's no two traders are the same by any stretch of the imagination, but I think from a fundamental perspective, we kind of have a similar foundation here at Tackle Trading. We believe in starting at the top of the market and taking that top-down approach, working from index into sector, into industry, into stocks. Of course, like hopefully everybody, we believe in matching the strategy to our view of the situation. We are watch list traders, so cultivating and managing watch lists. Of course, planning, placing, managing the trade, and journaling the trade. So this will kind of give you a way to kind of think about the tackle trading approach to the markets. If you're a newer trader in particular, it'll probably help get you dialed in a little bit on a routine as well, which is really important, as any trader will tell you. New traders tend to work hard, but maybe not the most efficiently. Hopefully this can help clean that up for you a little bit. If you are a veteran trader, you probably have a routine down already that's working for you, but maybe you can get a couple of ideas to incorporate that'll make your routine a little bit smoother in here as well. So that is a 7-step guide to trading. Of course, as traders, we're going to look at a lot of charts, right? That's going to be a big part of what we do and when we do it, right? And so we really do need to have a firm grasp on that technical analysis. And that's exactly what we'll be doing in that Technical Analysis 101 course. Charts, and more charts, right? Support and resistance, trends, patterns, all of that fun stuff. The better we are at that, the better we're probably going to be as traders. And the great thing about technical analysis is we're going to use that no matter what, whether you're day trading cryptos, cash flow trading, swing trading, whatever product you like to trade and whatever time frame you like to trade on, technical analysis is going to be beneficial to you. So every one of us can always stand to get a little bit better about our chart reading, no doubt. Our Options 101 course will introduce you to what's going on when you buy or sell that option contract, when you buy that call or when you sell that put option. What are the factors that are moving it? Why is it doing the things that it's doing, right? So we're really going to focus on what's going on behind the scenes, if you will, on an option contract. The better we understand why those things are doing the things that they're doing, the easier any of the different strategies are going to be for us to pick up and manage. And so we do want to make sure we have a firm understanding on bid ask spreads and delta and theta and liquidity and all of that good fun stuff. And that's exactly what we'll be talking about there in that Options 101 course. If you've ever been interested in learning more about either the futures or the Forex markets, and you may or may not have, it can go either way. But a lot of people who are interested don't really know where to look. Those markets in many ways are very similar to the equities market. In other ways, there's a little difference that we need to certainly understand if we're going to trade those leveraged markets. If you've always kind of wanted to take a closer look to see if those markets are interesting to you and worth pursuing, this can be a great place to start. Doesn't have to be a rush. If you don't want to trade futures, that's fine. No big deal. That's a great thing about trading. We trade what we want. We don't have to trade everything, right? But it can be a great place to start if you're looking to get a little more information to get active in either the futures or I should say, the futures or the currency markets. No matter what product you like to trade, no matter what time frame you like to trade it on, no matter what your trading style is, maybe are a turtle, or maybe you like making lots of little trades. I mean, regardless of that, we all need to have very clearly designed systems and rules in place to govern our actions. And I think at face value, everyone agrees with that. Nobody I've ever talked to says you don't need or want trading rules. But I found, and this was for me too, certainly, it's one thing to say it, another thing to do it. And the system development course is really designed to help you get better at approaching your trading from a systematic perspective, building out those trading systems, those trading plans. It will really make a big difference in your trading if you incorporate those philosophies. It really makes it a lot smoother, I would say, at least. So no matter who you are, no matter what you like to trade, no matter what your time frame is, I cannot suggest enough making some time to go through the system development course. It really is a great course, and I think there's something for everyone to learn within that system development course. In addition to our courses for our pro members, we do have a handful of premium systems. And just so you know what they are without going too crazy here, they're a one-time purchase. It's a put together system. The system is yours for life. Once a month, we get together with members of that team in a mastermind group. The Tackle 25 is a covered call-based system on a select group of stocks that we put together each year with the intent of cash flowing via covered calls. The STEP system is kind of our approach to swing trading, just standing for stop loss, target, entry, and position size. Cash flow condors is another cash flowing system, this time on the Russell 2000, and the bear market survival guide, kind of protecting our longer term portfolios from bearish turns in the market and then managing those bearish market conditions once we get them. Probably will at some point in time, right? You never know when. If you want any more information on any of those systems, don't hesitate to send us an email to team@tackletrading.com. You can also find more information over in the store tab. We'd be happy to get you a little bit more information on any of those that have caught your attention. In addition to the courses, we are going to do regular blog content, whether it's more technical analysis through Tales of a Technician, more on options in the Option Theory blog, taking concepts kind of from the ground up with Coach Greg over in the Rookie Corner, hearing from our awesome female trading community in the Women in Trading blog. These are going to be relatively short reads, depending on you. We're talking 5-ish minutes, right? Nothing too crazy, but another way that we can share ideas, answer questions, bounce things around with the team. Not everything has to be an hour webinar or a long course or anything along those lines. Keep an eye out for those blogs. They do come out pretty regularly, and I do think you will enjoy reading through them. Over in the Trade Center, you're going to find a few things. You're going to find a link to our trading glossary. We'll talk a little more detail, but you'll find a link to our trading journals, the events calendar, which we'll circle back to when we talk schedule, and the Tackle Trading Playbook. Here in the Tackle Trading Playbook is where you will find all of our strategies and the rules for those strategies. We're going to break this down into 3 core areas based off of the option Greeks. We're going to have Delta, Theta, and Vega. If you aren't an option trader or aren't an option trader yet, I'll explain very quickly. Delta is directional based trading, buying stock, selling stock short, buying call options, doing bull call spreads, right? I think the stock is going to move from point A to point B, from 55 to 60, from 72 to 68. I expect movement. How can I take advantage of it? That's what you're going to find in the Delta playbook. In the Theta playbook, that's our cash flow side of the equation. That's where we're selling those options, bringing in that premium. That's going to be things like covered calls and naked puts and credit spreads and iron condors, right? Theta, think time or time decay, right? That's the cool thing about options is we don't only have to buy them, we can also sell them. And then, of course, the what I call little brother of the options playbook, and maybe that's just me, but that's our Vega or our volatility playbook, where we're playing the expected volatility of the stock, not necessarily the direction that we think it's going to go. Think about some of the crazy stuff that you see every earnings season, right? Where somebody just has a huge pop or a huge drop because their earnings really hit the mark or really missed the mark. There was no way that we could have known that what their earnings were going to be, but maybe based off of that stock's history, we could have expected it's probably going to move a lot one way or the other. Let's build a trade that reflects that. That is what you will find there in the Vega or the volatility playbook. In each one of these, there will be a video going over in detail, what the strategy is, why we would choose that strategy, our rules for the strategy, how much time are we buying or selling, what's our delta rule, all of that type of stuff. We'll be using the Thinkorswim platform to put in an example in if you are using TOS as well and need some help from that perspective. So kind of walk through the whole process, the how to and the why would we use this and what are the rules for that strategy. There's also a little bit of a little cheat sheet, if you will, a downloadable PDF, so you can have easy access to the rules for any of those strategies that you're using as you're getting comfortable with that. You will also notice there's always something between a 0 and a plus or a -3. And this is just kind of where we see these strategies along kind of the spectrum of neutral to aggressive, right? So 0 would be flat neutral, right? Plus or -1 would be slightly bullish or slightly bearish. Plus or -2 would be bullish or bearish or moderately bullish or moderately bearish, however you'd like to word that. And then 3 or -3 would be very bearish or very bullish or very bearish. So if a stock's breaking out of a year-long level of resistance, my read of the situation is likely to be pretty bullish. If in that scenario, I'm going to want to make sure I match the strategy to my read of the situation. Whether or not I'm right, only time will tell, right? But I do want to make sure I'm matching the strategy to my read of the situation. And that's just where we kind of see these strategies along that spectrum, if you will. So that is the Tackle Trading Playbook. If you come directly into the Trade Center, it will bring you to kind of a what's up at Tackle Trading page. That's kind of what the homepage of the Trade Center is going to be. What's our next show, our most recent posts, our most recent tweet, a little watch list. If you wanted to, have a watch list without having to log into your, trading account every time you wanted to look at your charts, very easy to do here. You would just, throw in what you wanted in there. Maybe you are ready to put Caterpillar back into your watch list. I'm just going to select them and I'm just going to hit that plus button there, and that's going to add cap to my list here. If I decide I don't need them anymore, I'm just going to select them, hit that minus button, and that'll get rid of them. It's handy, at least for for some of us, to be able to just quickly pop in and look at our watch list without having to log all the way into the trading platform. If it's for you, great. If it's not, that's okay too. But it is handy. Our most recent tweet, either a replay or a live showing of one of our YouTube shows. Typically, this is going to be the halftime report because that's the show we're doing the most. But there will be times where it's the onboarding webinar or the Wednesday night webinar. But it'll just show a replay or a live showing if we are in fact live on YouTube. A little mini calendar. What's the next little while looking like? Where you are on any courses that you might be taking. So if you are, if you left in module 2, 7 minutes in, you can pick right back up where you left off without having to kind of where exactly did I leave type of stuff, just to save you some time. So really just kind of a what's up at Tackle Trading page. Over in the Market Skyline, you're going to find kind of all of the big stuff in one place. All of the big stuff. We'll see if we get there. Apparently I'm being a little bit slow. Hopefully it's not my internet and I'm still around. There we go. We want to make sure that, we're going through that top down, right? We're big top down traders around these parts. So we need to be able to look at the indexes. We need to be able to look at the technicals on the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, the RUT, the big stuff like Bitcoin, the emerging markets. We need to be able to stay on top of the movements that we're seeing in the major commodities, gold, silver, copper, crude, right, et cetera, and the sectors as well. These are the sector spider ETFs. If you're not familiar with them, we'll talk a little bit more about them in a little bit, but they're just going to break the S&P down by sector, basically, in ETF form. So we can kind of just quickly look and see, what was the day that was, what was standing out one way or another to us, whether it's from a bullish or a bearish point of view. These are important parts of a daily routine. Don't have to do it on this page by any means. I'd imagine you probably will build it into, into your own personal watch list. But we did want to have a place where kind of all in one spot, we've got all of the big stuff that we can check out. There's also a little bit of a link over here to the FinViz heat maps. This will just bring you to finviz.com, the heat map for the S&P 500 for today. So we can take that visual, what areas were in the green today, what areas were in the red, does anything stand out, maybe generate some ideas. Wow, a lot of green in financials. Maybe I want to go take a closer look at some stocks in that area. Just a different way to kind of view the market and to kind of generate some ideas. It is going to be defaulted to a one-day performance, but you can, check it out on the weekly, monthly, quarterly, fundamental, certain fundamental ratios. So there's a little bit of customization in there if you like that, the heat map type of a thing. So that's all that link will do, is just bring you over to that FinViz heat map. You'll find a news aggregator that's going to go through some of the, major financial websites. As you can see here, MarketWatch, NBC, Wall Street Journal. I imagine the Times is around here somewhere, and there's the Times as well. And it's just going to go through some of those bigger name financial sites, get the headlines for us, put them in one easy to process location, so I can easily kind of scroll through and read stories that intrigue me instead of have to bounce around and leave this site, go to that site, click a bunch of times. I mean, it's really a time saver is all, but it can come in pretty handy. You'll find a link to the economic calendar so you can be aware of what's on the economic schedule for the day or for the upcoming trading week that might impact your trading. Another link to our reports, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and they're right up here as well. A link to our search function, which is also this little magnifying glass, and it is pretty smart. So if you're ever looking for something, it could be a great place to start. Never hesitate to ask us. Send us an email to team@tackletrading.com if you can't find something, or if you're looking for information on a particular subject, and we'll be happy to find it for you. But a lot of times it's really easy to find it through that search function. It is a pretty smart search function, at least I think. Another link to our trading glossary, another link to a chart if for whatever reason you ever need one. Link to the compounding gains calculator, and another link to our trade journals. You can access the trade journals directly in the drop down of the Trade Center, but if you come into it directly through the Trade Center like we're in right now, this will get you to the tutorial page as well. If you need a little bit of help getting up and running on those journals, there's no shame in that. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but the tutorial is certainly here to help. We've got 3 different trading journals. We've got the trade journal. We've got our theta research tool, so we can build and compare those different cash flow strategies. We've got the portfolio journal, so we can kind of stay on top of the big picture, right? If you've got 17 trades going on that you've built over the last 6 weeks, you need to be on top of it, right? And sometimes that can be a little challenging. So the portfolio journal should be very helpful from that perspective. If you are coming into the trade journals through the Trade Center like we are right now, you can download them in here as well. And of course, here you will find that tutorial. Journaling your trades is really an important part of your trading process, and hope you're already doing it. But if not, no time like the present. Today's a very, very good day to start. Every trade that you make is data that you can use to make yourself a better trader based off what you're individually seeing, right? Not what I'm seeing or Coach Tim seeing or whoever else it might be. So it really is a very powerful tool if we use it. So that's going to kind of take care of that first basket of stuff, if you will, the things that you can do on your own. Hopefully, as we went through some of the tools, talked a little bit about the courses, talked a little bit about the blogs, and brought up those premium systems. Hopefully that gave you a better idea of kind of that side of the equation. Now let's talk a little bit about things that you can do with others. And while we're going to kind of focus primarily on the shows, a couple things I will highlight as well. Our clubhouse is kind of our own personal social media page, for lack of a better way to describe it. Just a place where members of the team can ask questions, bounce ideas off of one another, that type of stuff. It's just trading. It's just us. Certainly invite you to join us over in the clubhouse. For pro members, we do have our Discord, and I'll show you that link here before we're done. Just got that up and running. We do have our Discord for all of our pro members. Another great way to be able to stay in contact with the team throughout the the trading day or the trading week. So certainly other ways that you can interact with members of the team beyond kind of the normal schedule. But let's talk about the schedule. And let's start about kind of that daily schedule, the average market day. What does that look like here at Tackle Trading? Well, every market morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, we start off in our Traders Lounge. If the market's open, so is that lounge. So it's pretty much Monday through Friday, but there are some holidays that will conflict with that, right? We get together with the team for an hour, and the Traders Lounge is really designed where we can just sit down with the team. One of our coaches can always be in there and just answer any questions that folks might be having. That might be, you might be struggling with a particular strategy. Maybe you just learned that strategy and it would be really helpful to kind of walk through it, point, from beginning to end, at least an example. Maybe you've got a great trade setup that you wanted to get some other eyeballs on and get some feedback. Maybe you're struggling with your daily routine. Maybe you've got a trade going and you want to bounce some management techniques off of it. I mean, who knows, right? What your questions or needs will be, but we do need to have a place where we can address them. And that's exactly what we're doing each market morning at 11 Eastern in that Traders Lounge. You're always welcome in there. You're always invited. Your questions are always welcome. Never feel like it's too basic or too advanced. We're all on the same team here. Everybody wants to see everybody else succeed in the market. So if you need some help, don't hesitate to reach out. We all need some help sometime. There's no doubt about that. And that's exactly what we're doing each market morning at 11 Eastern there in that Traders Lounge. We're not going to regularly record this one because quite honestly, no one's going to go back and watch one from a year ago, right? But we can record snippets and we will record little snippets and kind of get them posted in here from time to time for our team. And if your schedule is such that you're just, you're at work at 11 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, and you can never get in there, there will be other alternatives. But one alternative, just to let us know, say, hey, look, guys, I'm at work. I can't join you in the lounge, but I could really use some help on whatever it is. We're always going to do our best to accommodate you. It's not a huge deal to hit the record button, get a little snippet, get it posted in here for you so you can watch it and get your question answered when you get home. So if you've got some issues like that, never hesitate to reach out. We're always going to try our best to accommodate you. Shortly after the Traders Lounge, we're going to head over to our YouTube channel at 12:30 Eastern, where we're going to do the Tackle Trading Halftime Report, live look in on the market, doing that top-down approach, going through that daily routine, right? What's going on in the market today? How is it impacting our charts technically, stocks in the news, the different areas of the market, be it indexes, the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Russell, be it sectors, be it commodities, Bitcoin, go through the whole process and work that top-down analysis in the market. It's, of course, a lot of fun to go through that with the team and hopefully very helpful as you work through your daily routine within the markets as well. That is live on our YouTube channel at 12:30 p.m. Eastern each market day. Of course, being on YouTube, once the stream is over, it just does populate directly to the channel. So if that's a bad time, but you want to incorporate into your routine, very, very easy to do as well. So every market day, whether it's here in the lounge at Tackle Trading or over on our YouTube channel in the halftime report, we will be working with the team through the markets each and every trading day. And that is important. Consistency is very important in life, but certainly in trading, if not in life. So then we're going to have our evening shows. And let's start with the coaches show. That's Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We do the coaches show. I would consider this our flagship show. Personally, we're a couple of days into the market. It's Tuesday night, right? We got a couple days of market movement for the week behind us. We can do a quick market skyline. What's standing out? Is any particular sector, industry, shaping up real nice for us, potential trading opportunities, that type of stuff. But what I really like about the coaches show is it allows us to take, one of the many concepts that's available to us in trading, right? And there's a ton that we could talk about, whether it's indicator-based stuff like moving averages or RSIs, whether it's pattern-based, like trading flags, trading high bases, trading breakdowns, whether it's strategies, long calls versus bull puts, whether it's daily routine, whether it's trade management. I mean, there's a million things that we can talk about as traders, right? And what the Coaches Show really allows us to do is really dial in on one of those subjects and have an in-depth discussion on that subject to help the team better understand or give at least some ideas how to incorporate that into their trading, or at least give them a better foundation if they're not interested, right? If you don't like moving averages, that's your business, but hopefully you looked into them and came to a conclusion that, yeah, I just don't think I need them, right? Type of stuff. It's very much worth keeping this in your weekly routine. We love to have our team live, but we get it. Schedules are schedules. It will be recorded. It will be archived. You can go back and watch any previous episodes on any subjects that interest you. You'll find them right there in that link, as well as the link to the show when the time comes. But I definitely would encourage you to make some time in your week for that Coaches Show. I think you'll get a lot out of that. On Thursday nights, also at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we do our cash flow club. This is going to be a little bit more narrowly focused on building and managing those cash flow strategies, right? As the name probably gives away. So we're going to talk a lot about, building and managing those covered calls, building and managing those credit spreads, building and managing those iron condors and those type of trades. If you're a cash flow trader, or if you're interested in cash flow trading, or if you just want to incorporate a little bit, into your directional trading systems, definitely worth enjoying the cash flow club. Again, just like the Coaches Show, it is live on Thursday. It is live at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Of course, this time on Thursday and not Tuesday, but it will be recorded and archived. So again, you can, if you can't make it live, if there's a subject, if you want to go learn more about poor boy covered calls or whatever the strategy might be, very easy to do. So that's our Thursday night schedule. On Wednesday night, we do a couple of different things. So I'm going to hop over into the events calendar. We'll take a look at this while we talk about this. Here on our YouTube channel at 7 Eastern on Wednesdays, we do our Trade Masters webinar. A couple of the coaches will get together with some trade ideas, bounce them off of one another, and with members of our community in the YouTube chat. Team members will vote on whose trade idea they like the most, and the winner of the week is considered the trade master. It's a lot of fun, but it's really designed to help generate some trade ideas as we get into the middle of the week, right? And so we certainly invite you to join us each Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, here on our YouTube channel for that Trade Masters webinar. And then shortly after that Trade Masters webinar, we're going to head back over to Tactical Trading for our Wednesday night lounge at 8:30 Eastern. It's going to be, in a lot of ways, it's going to be very similar to the morning normal trading lounge. But we're also going to address, any questions that people might have had on some of the trade ideas that we discussed in that Trade Masters webinar. So if you need a little bit more, help on any of those ideas, can certainly give it to you. But we can also just answer, any other questions that you have. So again, maybe your schedule is you're just at work, 11 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, and you cannot make it to the lounge. Well, maybe you can join us on Wednesday night and get that help that maybe you are looking for. So we are kind of doing a twofer here on Wednesday nights at Tactical Trading, YouTube channel at 7 Eastern, the Trade Masters, and then our Wednesday night lounge at 8:30 Eastern back over here at Tactical Trading. As you can kind of see, the events calendar will if I click on whatever it is I want to join, I can get the information and all of that fun stuff. So it is pretty handy as you're getting to know us. We, as I mentioned earlier, have a real awesome group of female traders with us here at Tactical Trading, and they get together about once a month in their Women in Trading Mastermind group. As you can see, they've got one coming up here this week on Friday. I don't exactly know what happens there. I don't get to go. That's for the women in trading around here, which is awesome. But I have no doubt that there's a lot of good stuff going on in there. I'm sure folks are having fun and learning quite a bit because I know the team. So while I never will know for sure exactly what happens in that webinar, I have no doubt that it's probably a lot of fun and very informative. If you are a woman in trading, or if you know a woman in trading, I would definitely encourage you to make some time to join in that Women in Trading Mastermind group. It tends to be once a month. we'll make sure that you are aware of when that is as well. And sorry, fellas, you're just going to have to find something else like me that for that one, and that's all right. That is all right. On Monday nights, we do this onboarding webinar. So if you're new to tackle trading, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, if you think it would be helpful, you will find the recording on our YouTube channel. You can also join it on Monday night. No two are tremendously different from one another, but if you ever need that, if you think it would be helpful, of course, the offer is always on the table. Kind of an oversimplified way to think about the schedule here at Tackle Trading is the morning lounge is for your questions. That's very specific for your Q&A, your needs, what you need help with that day, right? The halftime report is really for that daily routine, really about working through that daily routine. And then the evening shows are where we can really go into the education side of things. We can take that much deeper dive into whatever the subject might be. And while that is certainly an overly simplified way to look at it, I do think it's a fair way as you're getting to know us and what these different shows are and what kind of will fit into your life as a trader. I think it can be helpful. But we are going to be pretty regimented, so you can expect that barring weird holiday stuff, which we will occasionally have to deal with, it's not going to change too tremendously much around these parts from a scheduling point of view. So that's going to kind of wrap up that side of things, the things that you can do with others, whether it's, interaction in the Discord, in the clubhouse, asking questions in the lounge, going through the routine in the halftime report, diving into subjects in more detail in the evening shows, a lot of ways that we can learn around these parts. Let's talk about that last or third component, and that's our weekend report. So on Fridays, what we're doing as a team of coaches here at Tackle Trading is we get together, typically, a little bit before the close. I do the halftime report with Coach Matt on Fridays. We get going early and we just don't stop until late. It's a lot of fun to talk trading with the team. We're basically going through the market. How are we individually seeing it, individually approaching it? How are we viewing the different components of the market, whether the broad market as a whole, the different sectors, the different commodities, all of that stuff, trade setups that we've got in our watch list going into the upcoming week. And out of that meeting, we call that our scouting report meeting. Out of that meeting comes our weekend reports, including the Tackle newsletter. Again, top-down analysis is very important, and it's very important to us at Tackle Trading, and that's exactly what we're doing in the newsletter. If you have taken the 7-step guide to trading course, or if you remember when we first looked at it, the first step was start at the top of the market, right? We're big believers in that philosophy, and that's exactly what we're doing here each week in the Tackle newsletter. So, quick wrap up, of the week that was, storylines that were moving the market, what happened, all of that fun type of stuff, right? To make sure we can get caught up with that. The upcoming earnings calendar and economic calendar, things that we might want to keep an eye out for, that side of things. Of course, we'll have a video, going over this in detail for you, so you can understand kind of where our heads are at in the market, where the broad market is, the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, the Russell, etc. If you need the ETFs that track those indexes and aren't familiar with them, DIA tracks the Dow Jones, QQQ tracks the NASDAQ, IWM tracks the Russell 2000, and SPY tracks the S&P 500. The new highs versus new low indicator, that's going to take a look at over 8,000 stocks so we can get a better idea of the internals of the market, right? How many of these stocks are actually hitting new highs versus hitting new lows, not just the big names in the S&P 500, right? That type of stuff. We're also going to rank the sectors each week based off of what we're seeing on the stocks within that sector. Now, in here, you're going to see the sector spider ETFs. And if you're not familiar with them, what they are, they go into the S&P 500. Say XLE, for example, is the energy ETF, goes into the S&P 500 and pulls out just the energy stocks, weights it accordingly because the S&P 500 is a weighted index. And so these are going to be weighted accordingly, and puts those energy stocks into an individual portfolio, if you will. These are ETFs, so they are tradable through, and these particular ETFs are tradable through both shares and options. But it's really going to be able to give us an isolated look at the energy sector versus, say, the industrial sector versus, say, the communications sector, right? And so the big, another big part of that top-down analysis is the sector analysis, right? So these are just going to break that S&P down. If you want more information on them, the website provider is probably, or the ETF provider is probably the way to go about it. Their website is just sectorspdr.com. And there you can, see how those ETFs are built, weighted, who's in them, all of that fun stuff. When we're ranking our sectors, we're going to be ranking them based off of the components that make up those ETFs. So not just looking at the chart for XLE, but the actual stocks that are making up that ETF. We're going to break our sectors into 3 different areas. You're going to have the growth areas of the market. That's going to be technology, discretionary, and communications. Going to have the cyclical sectors. That's going to be financials, industrials, energy, and basic materials. And then the defensive side, that's going to be healthcare, staples, real estate, and utilities, right? So blue for growth, yellow for cyclical, and purple-ish for defensive. Each week, we're going to be adjusting these ratings based off of what we're seeing within the stocks that build up these sectors, right? We might move it up a little bit, move it down a little bit. Sometimes it might need to be moved a lot, right? And we'll kind of explain that rationale in the video so you can kind of see, just because all of these cyclicals are at the same rating right now, some of them have caught upgrades this week, where some of them either didn't or maybe even caught it a little bit of a downgrade, like finance. So we want to be able to talk you through kind of the thought process there. But the gridiron here, this football field, will give you a quick view of what that is. Speaking of which, you can kind of see, it's on a football field. Between the 40s is going to be, neutral territory. Between the 40 and the 20, that's going to be, slightly bullish or slightly bearish. In the 20 to the end zone is going to be bullish or bearish. It's going to be extremely rare and unlikely that you ever see us put an entire sector or market into the 3 territory, plus or minus. Just too aggressive. It's not who we are, certainly not who I am. That would mean every stock within that area had to be looking basically the exact same, which is possible. That's why I'll never say never, but I wouldn't expect that you'll ever see the sectors rated at plus or minus 3. That's just not really who we are. Again, we can kind of talk you through the thought process each week in the video side of things. So hopefully that explains our sector rate and how we're putting this together and why we're putting it together, right? We want to, if we see shifts in momentum or, breakouts or whatever, we want to, respect that as traders for sure, right? You will also find the rapid fire at the end of our meeting. All of us coaches get an opportunity to pitch their favorite setups that we discussed for our reports for the week. Which trade, which bullish setup we like the best, which bearish setup we like the best. It's a fun way to end the meeting for sure. It's hopefully folks enjoy it. It seems like for the most part they do. So you can kind of, just see what the kind of coaches were thinking as they were kind of going through those reports. As I mentioned earlier, we've got our tackle trading Discord. So for all of our pro members, you can join it right in here. You'll find that link. And if you can't find it, don't hesitate to ask somewhere else. But come on over. It's a great place to be able to interact with the team. It's very, very, I think easy to get comfortable with platform, at least to get started on it. But it's really just a great way to be able to stay connected with other traders throughout the days and weeks. So it would definitely encourage you to join us if you are a pro member over in our Discord channel. There will be a friendly reminder to match the strategy to the situation. Sometimes it's very easy to get it in your head that you want to do a credit spread, or you want to do this, or I want to do that, right? We're people. We can do some weird things, right? So the market, I promise, doesn't care if I want to do a credit spread. Does that match my read of the situation, right? So just a friendly reminder if I ever need it. You will find a pre-built scanner in here as well. So if a particular area has caught your attention as you're going through your daily routine, or your, the newsletter for the weekend, or whatever the case might be, and a particular area has caught your eye, so I'm really liking what I'm seeing develop in the industrial sector. This will just bring you again back to FinViz, and this will bring us to a pre-built. I'm going to hit that charts button there. This is going to be a pre-built list of tradable stocks. These are very trader friendly stocks. And what I mean when I say that is they have good liquidity. So it's very easy to trade the shares, whether it's, long or short. They're borrowable. I can short them if that's the trade I'm trying to build. So very easy to trade with shares. They're all optionable. Now, just because a stock has options, if you're an option trader, you don't need me to tell you this, but just because a stock has options doesn't mean those options are particularly great to trade. So we always want to make sure we are double checking the liquidity, but option availability is on all of these stocks. I would say while there are certainly some that I would not consider trading the options on, I've absolutely ran into them on multiple occasions. I would say there are more that I do feel comfortable trading options strategies if that's the route that I want to go. And again, it's not a big deal to check that liquidity. And if it's not there, play the equity, not a big deal, or go look for something else, right? We should be able to build a trade one way or another through options or through stock, I guess is the point, if there's something that we like with that we find in here. So that's what I mean when I say trader friendly. I can get a trade on these guys if I want to, one way or the other. As you can kind of see, we're just going to get a lot of bird's eye views of some charts to see if there's interesting. I kind of look at this, UNP kind of stood out to me. You had this big run, little bit of a flag-based pattern developing right now. I wouldn't try to build a trade off of this little chart, and I doubt you would either. But I can say, you know what? Yeah, before I go to bed tonight, I'm going to actually go look at UNP in a charting platform and see if there is something there. And maybe there is, maybe there isn't, right? Maybe it doesn't look as good when I get up close, or maybe it looks great, but risk to reward is going to be an issue. But it was very easy for me to find a potential trade candidate just by clicking that button. Now, maybe you don't like that one, right? Maybe that one's just not for you. That's okay, right? We want to be able to scan some things and say, is there anything here that's, worth taking a closer look at? Now, you can click on it. So, I like this UNP flag, at least at first glance. And so if I click on these guys, it's going to bring me a little more chart to work with. Again, I'm not going to try to build a trade off of this thing, but I can get a better idea of what it actually looks like. So if you want to take a closer look, if you do this, make sure you go back to screener instead of back. It will make sure you actually get back to the screener if you do that. And so just an easy way to quickly browse through a lot of stocks, get some technicals, get some watch list candidates. Then we can go, do the work, see if it's worth pursuing a trade. Very helpful as we get through the week, especially as we need to, the later in the week we go, sometimes our watch list dries up a little bit. We might need to add a little bit to it. So we do have that for, of course, all of the different sectors. The major world stuff, right? The all world ETF, the emerging market ETF, the dollar index, and then a final thought in here as well for the team. So that is the newsletter. I would personally say this is where you always want to start. It's top down for a reason, right? And at least for me, it is. So that's where we want to start. You're also going to find the stock and the option report. Now, these guys are going to be built fairly similar to one another in the sense that we want to make sure that members of our team and us, because we use these too. So we want to make sure that we have quality technical candidates in the watch list each week going into the market, right? And whether that's, more equity-based plays through the stock report or more option-based plays through the options report, they're going to be built the same way because, well, that's a good setup's a good setup, right? And the fact that I'm buying a call and you're doing shares of the equity, well, if it breaks out and runs, we're both going to be pretty happy probably, right? And so where they're really going to differ is, of course, things in the stock report are more maybe tailored towards stock trades. Now, maybe that's because of the price of the stock. Maybe that's because of the liquidity of the option contracts, right? They're that definitely might be the case. Whereas on the option side of things, well, at least all of us are comfortable with the idea of trading the, things in the option report through option strategies. Could we choose to trade stock? Of course we could. Maybe we want to do a covered call, but all of those candidates in the option report are going to have the liquidity that we all would ask for. It's always a good idea to double check that liquidity and make sure you're comfortable with it, but we're comfortable with the option liquidity on things in the option report. Another way they're going to differ. I mean, while the watch list is going to be, built up the same way, right? A breakout's a breakout, a flag's a flag, bear retracement's a bear retracement, etc. Well, in the stock report in the video, we're going to talk a lot more about processes, right? Because we're coming at it from a stock point of view. So, whether it's watch list management, stop loss placement, entries, targeting, all of that fun stuff, right? Over in the option report, while that stuff's every bit as important for sure, Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about strategy selection. And this might be a situation where I go with a poor boy covered call, or this might be a situation where I'd go a long call and maybe look to convert it into a bull call at my first target. So we can kind of talk through the strategy selection side in the options report. So that's really where the difference is going to be. The delivery and the things that we discuss absolutely will be different, but the watch lists themselves and how they get put together. Again, a good trade setup's a good trade setup. Nobody but me cares how I want to trade it, right? I care a lot. Nobody else cares at all, right? And so we want to make sure everybody on the team has some quality trade candidates each week. We'll have both bullish and bearish trading candidates, so we can have some in our watch list. Now, it's fine if you which ones you like and which ones you don't. That's your business, right? There's no bad way to find a trade. So if you don't like Toll Brothers for whatever your reason is, you don't have to explain that to me. You don't like it, you don't like it, right? Don't put it in your watch list. If you do like it, great. An easy watch list candidate for you, right? Don't be afraid to do that. It's not about what you don't trade, it's about what you do trade, right? And I think it's very normal to, for whatever reason, maybe it's the price of the stock, maybe you already got plenty of exposure in that sector, maybe you just hate the name, right? Maybe you just don't like Train Technologies for whatever your reasons are, right? That's up to us to decide. We do want to make sure we have some quality candidates each week. We do have these trading view charts built into it. So just a couple of quick things on it. If you hit this button right here, I like this Train Technology, so I'm going to use them as our example. Smack that widget button. It's just going to give me some more charts. Smack it again. It'll bring back the watch list. If you scroll up or down on your mouse, you can zoom in or zoom out as we're doing right here. If you hold your left mouse button down, you can kind of drag it back and forth like we're doing here. If you hold your left mouse button down over in the numbers and the dollars, you can do the same, scrunch up, scrunch down to get the chart kind of set up the way you would like to get it set up. So there's some flexibility there. If you want to add any indicators, this button right here will let you do that. Do keep in mind that these are not going to save. And so if you add 4 or 5 indicators, that's fine. That's your business. Just be aware, you leave the page and come back tomorrow, they're going to leave the page and not come back tomorrow. We have to add them again. So as a general rule, I just add the ATR because I'm going to do most of my technical analysis on my own trading platform, but I do like to add the ATR. So just kind of be aware of that. If you want to size your indicator that you just added, just hover your mouse over the wall between the indicator and the volume, hold the left mouse button down, you can scrunch down, you can scrunch up, however you need to do. It's defaulted to a candlestick because that's what most of us use, but I still know a couple of people who prefer bar charts. And if that's you, again, to each their own, you can change it to a bar chart if that's a preference. It's defaulted to the daily. These are swing trading candidates unless we, talk otherwise in the video. And if sometimes, most of the time that's not the case, but once in a while we'll find a good position type of trading opportunity, and we'll share that. We'll make sure we share, kind of our thoughts there on it. But the default is going to be on the daily, but you can change it if we want to take a look at the weekly chart, if we want to take a look intraday and go into the 30 minutes to try to, for stop loss placement or whatever the case might be. There's going to be some flexibility. A little drop down will let you do that. Your trend line tool is going to be this guy right here. This is where you can draw either horizontal, right? These guys are a little breakout, right? They kind of push it into that resistance, or if applicable, and I don't know how applicable, but it is kind of there. We can go either way, draw our trend lines. If we don't need it, just select it, hit the trash bin, and that'll get rid of it. You will also find this guy right here, and this one's really helpful. This is where you can prep either a long or a short position. So since this is a bullish breakout, this would of course be a long position. So, and I'm not going to get super specific, but let's say I want my entry just shy of 189. I'll go 188.93. So I select that, I hit that button, and now I've got my entry where I want it. Now I've got a target in mind on these guys up here at 201, right? Or 200, or maybe my target is up here at that recent high, or my secondary target's up there at that high. So I can, wherever my target would be, same with my stop. Well, if I put my stop loss below the pivot down here, well, that'd be a great place for a stop loss. It's also going to tell you my risk to reward. For every dollar I'm risking, I have $1.31 in potential gain on this trade right here. I wouldn't make it simply because, like many traders, I ask for at least a 2-to-1 ratio, right? And so Well, that's not going to work. Well, what if I use today's low instead, right? What if I put my stop loss below today's low? Well, that would change that risk to reward profile to $3.54 for every dollar that I'm risking. Much better. Maybe you're saying, well, Frank, you might be an optimist, but I'm not optimistic enough to say these guys are getting back up to that high, at least in one swing. But I do think maybe they can work back to that 200 level of resistance. What does that trade look like? $2.17 in reward to $1 in risk. So we can really kind of build out these trades based off of, stop losses and targets and entries, all of that fun stuff. It'll do the math for us, saves me a tremendous amount of time. And hopefully it can save you some as well. Of course, that's going to be available both for bull and bear plays, depending on what you're doing. There's a lot of other things you can do, but those are some of the big ones that I do like to highlight. I would imagine most of the time you will be doing your technical analysis wherever you normally do that. But probably at least the first time you go through the stock report or the option report or whatever, it will be here at Tactical Trading, and you're going to want to be able to work through it very quickly, and hopefully that gives you some ideas. You can expect all of these reports to be delivered to you by Saturday afternoon, so you have plenty of time to get through them before the market opens back up. Plenty of time to take the ones that you want to put in your weekly watch list, get your watch list built out. Hey, wish everybody the best on the rest and go on with your life, right? Nothing wrong with that. So that's going to be the reports. Don't be afraid to build your own tackle trading as we get wrapping up. There's a lot, right? We've got a lot of content that we're doing every day live. We've got tons in the archives. We've got lots of stuff to do. And while that's a good thing, it can also feel a little overwhelming sometimes. Don't be afraid to prioritize and build out your own tackle trading. You're probably going to use tackle trading a little different if you started trading a month ago versus a year ago. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's normal, right? If you're a brand new trader, you're going to be focused on probably things like the 7-step guide to trading, like the technical analysis course, practicing with things in the stock report, getting the, using the traditional trade journal and getting comfortable with that. If you've been doing this for a while and are just now getting into theta trades, well, you might be, prioritizing the cash flow club, the theta journal might be your favorite tool, right? The option report might be the report that you gravitate towards to the most. It's okay, right? There's no wrong way to do this, but we got to prioritize, right? We don't have infinite amounts of time. And while we certainly invite you to join us in everything we do, we don't expect that of you. We want you to be able to get out of tackle trading what you need, whatever that might be. As we get wrapping it up for the day, I hope that gives you a better idea of who we are at Tackle Trading, what we're doing, where you can find it, and when we're doing it, all of that fun stuff. In addition to our Discord, which is just for pro members, our Clubhouse, certainly invite you over there. We are active on all of the traditional social media platforms as well. We have, our own Facebook group if you're a Facebook user, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. Of course, here on YouTube, we are probably in a lot of ways known for our live streams, but we also have a lot of other content on our YouTube channel, a lot of walkthroughs, how-tos, what-ares, thinkorswim tutorials. We're always adding more. So certainly would, of course, invite you to join us over at YouTube, and I would appreciate the like and the subscribe and that YouTube side of stuff. So, don't feel obligated. I'm not a Facebook user, and it's probably never going to happen. This is not my thing. I have no objection to people who like it. It's just not for me. But I am a Twitter guy. I'm okay with Twitter, right? If you're comfortable, if you're using that platform, come on over and join us. It's another great way to be able to stay connected to other traders, because trading can certainly feel lonely, right? Because you're always doing it by yourself in your office or in your home office. For most of us, most of the people in our day-to-day life aren't traders. Your next door neighbor doesn't care that you're still riding the Tesla breakout, right? So, but other traders do, right? And so it's important, and there's a lot of ways to do it. It's important to, I think, be connected in one way or another with other folks that are kind of going through, similar stuff to you. It's nice to know there's lots of ways to do it. There's not a right way to do it by any means, but join us, in a variety of ways. Certainly would encourage you to come over and join Discord. It's been a lot of fun, and I expect it's going to get even more fun as we get more and more folks comfortable with that platform. If you are a pro member, I welcome you to the team. It's great to have you, and I'm very much looking forward to getting to know you as the days turn into weeks and turn into months. If you are not a pro member and just checking us out, I certainly appreciate you doing so, and hopefully I'll see you around one way or another as well. We do offer a standing offer of a free 15-day trial. You can find that over in the store tab or any link, the link in any of our YouTube videos. You can find that as well. If you would like to come in, give it a try for 15 days, see if it's a good fit. If it is, great. If it's not, no big deal. All right. So certainly invite you to take us up on that offer. But I hope to see you all again. And I imagine for many of you, I will. And I very much look forward to doing so. I certainly appreciate your time here this evening. I will let you get out of here, but I hope this has helped you get to know us a little bit better. Have a wonderful rest of your evening and trade smart, trade within your rules. And I will talk to you very, very soon.